What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex, and you're watching a Ragin Ronin review. Got a review for you. You guys already know what film I checked out. Avengers Endgame, twice in IMAX 3D. I watched it on Friday and also yesterday at 10 a.m. both in IMAX 3D, and I was pretty surprised how full the theater was at 10 a.m. on a work day. And of course, people want to watch this film because it's the biggest movie of the year. I mean, of course, there's Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker, but that's like way in December. Right now, Avengers Endgame is the big talk of the town because everybody wants to watch this film. It is amazing. This film in 5 days has made what a lot of big blockbusters have made in their entire theatrical run. $1.2 billion. It's Wednesday now. It's already made $1.4 billion and it's going to break all kinds of records, and a lot of people are talking about it. There's going to be a lot of positive word of mouth and a lot of repeat viewings. I know I want to go back again and again and again. And if you didn't already know, I watched Avengers Infinity War in the theaters 7 or 8 times. I freaking loved that film. It was amazing. But anyways, let's talk about Avengers Endgame, and I want to talk about this with absolutely no spoilers. I'm gonna do my best to not do any spoilers. As a matter of fact, I was thinking to myself, how am I gonna review this film without giving away any spoilers? It's impossible, because when you talk about the things you liked and didn't like, you gotta go into details. But I'm not going to go into details. I know there's a lot of people that haven't seen this movie yet and probably didn't get a chance to because they didn't get a chance to pre-order their tickets. And you want to know how I feel? Well, this is the video for you because I'm not going to give away any spoilers whatsoever. I'm just going to tell you how I feel about this movie. So let's get right into it. It was freaking amazing. It was awesome. It was like, it blew my mind and it blew away my expectations. My expectations were sky high and it still blew them away. The Russo brothers have done an incredible job with this film. I mean, they gave us Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and now Endgame, and these films just kept on getting better and better and better and just so exciting. And what's great about them is the story. Like, the story and the characters. I mean, the action's incredible, but what I really loved about Endgame was the story. Because, like, you know, I've seen all types of superhero fights and big battles and stuff, and it's all very exciting. It's a big, spectacular movement, but I think this story is really, really incredible. Because think about it. This is the second half of a larger story. Like, this is part 2 of 2. But it's also part, like, 22 of a much larger movie, because this is the 22nd film in the Infinity Saga. That's what they're calling it. And pretty much the end of Phase 3, well, there's Spider-Man Far From Home, but that comes out in summer. But this is pretty much the end of it all. And in Infinity War, they dealt with great tragedy. So this film, you know, it's very, very intriguing because everybody who's seen Infinity War wants to know what happens next. How are they going to deal with this? Because, like, Infinity War was like the Empire Strikes Back of Marvel, and it truly is. So this is like Return of, well, I don't want to say Return of the Jedi because Empire Strikes Back is better, but this is like, you know, like the grand finale. This truly is, and they did a spectacular job with making this the grandest finale that they could ever come up with. Great direction from the Russo brothers and amazing, like really, really good writing from the writers. Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, or is it Christopher McFeely and Stephen Mark? Anyways, the writers did an excellent job because I loved all of the dialogue moments. I loved every scene was great. Like, all this little attention to detail, all these little things that they put into it. And the second time I watched it, I actually picked up on more details. I picked up on more in the music, the dialogue, the story, and little details, like visual details in the background. So the second time around, it actually was a better viewing compared to the first time. The first time was like wow, like just full-on nerdgasm, information overload. But the second time, it really caught a lot more things. And it was actually a more emotional experience for me because I actually got to sit where I usually like to sit, right in the middle. The other time I sat in the back, off to the side. So you don't really get the full experience. So this time, on the second time, I got a much better experience, and like, it really showed how much more I liked this movie on the second viewing. And like I said, this movie is full of great character moments. I love how this film actually is a culmination. Everybody's saying it's a culmination, and it really is. It's a culmination of 11 years worth of storytelling, and they just bring everything together, and they brought everything full circle. And it's very, very important that they do this, because they do it in a way that really brings justice to all the characters and what they've done in the past. And, you know, to really get the best and most positive experience watching this, you got to revisit the older films, and in the right order. Just because there's just a lot going on that really just, it really tells you that they haven't forgotten about anything that's happened in the past. Like, this isn't its own film. This is a film which really is like pays tribute to a lot of things that happened in the past. And I love that they do that, because if you're a true fan and you've been following everything, these are true, like really, truly great fan moments, because you're like, oh man, that was awesome. Because you're thinking about how they just recalled one of these great references. They made reference to some of these great moments and events from previous films. So there's all this little attention to detail. It is its own film. It's like a self-contained film, but it's still like part of a larger piece of storytelling. So I love that they did that. I don't even know how it's even possible to come up with something so great. It's so great. I loved a lot of performances. This is definitely the most emotional story in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's talk about the action. And, you know, I gotta tell you, I mean, I've seen a lot of big battles. I mean, we all have seen a lot of big battles. I think this film was really, really great, because it really didn't need to do that much more. It just needed to wrap things up. And they did so with just such spectacle. And they didn't need to do anything to outdo the other one by making it bigger. The other ones, you know, the previous ones, by making it bigger. They just needed to give the characters their moments. That's all they really needed to do. And every single one of those moments was not only done well, but they did it in a way which really just made sense. And it was a great way of recalling back everything that happened in the past. And it was just great moments. They made you go like, holy cow, like wow, like I'm actually witnessing this. Like, there's so much enthusiasm just throughout all those moments. And this film is a 3-hour movie. It just flows at a brisk pace. Now, I've been reading some comments where people are saying that, oh man, the beginning is so slow. It's meant to be that way. It's meant to like have a big build up to something really, really grand. And I love that they did that. And actually, for those that have already seen it, you know that the film is divided into 3 acts, just like any other movie. First act, second act, third act. And a lot of people that have already watched it were saying like, oh, the first act is so slow and all that stuff. But I love the first act. The first act is exactly what we needed, because that's when they're dealing with tragedy. They're trying to cope with all this that happened in the past, and it's a very, very normal and realistic process. The second act, I actually think that I liked the most. I loved it the most because it was just so story driven. It was visually driven, but it was also very, very story driven. You feel like, okay, the story is moving forward. They've gained momentum, and now I'm really pumped to see where this goes. And a lot of really great magic happens there, and it always a lot of just these great character moments. Now, as for the third act, I'm not going to spoil anything. Don't worry. This is just like wrapping it up, and they do it in such spectacular fashion. And I'm only going to say that it is really something else. Like, whew. What else can I say? This movie, you know, I'm really debating whether I should give this a 9.5 out of 10 or a 9.75 out of 10. I gave The Avengers a 9.75 out of 10. I gave Infinity War a 9.5 out of 10. I like Endgame more than Infinity War. Like, Infinity War is incredible, but I actually do like Endgame more, and I think it's because it's more character driven. Infinity War is more character driven in the sense that Thanos has pretty much all of the character development. He's the one that's the main character in the movie. This one, it's kind of like, we've seen Thanos' story, let's check in with the rest of the characters, like our heroes. And that's what I like about it. And you know, having like a grand finale, that's standard, right? You know, we know we're gonna get that, but all those character moments really showed us that, you know, the Russo brothers aren't just about having big battles, you know, telling us great big battles, like showing us these big battle sequences like we saw in Infinity War and Civil War. It's not just about that. They really know how to craft really, really great moments that are really heartfelt for the audience of these characters. They really know how to tell a story with, like, in so many ways. A visually driven story, a character driven story, and a story driven film. And it's just such a really good balance of that, and then some. Like, they give us more than that. Like, they go the extra mile to really make sure the audience is satisfied. I have not read a super negative review about this film. Like, I've never even read a negative comment about this film. Some people said it was slow. But honestly speaking, like, it is exactly the way it needed to be. And I don't think I can think of how I would change this film. With that being said, I'm gonna give this movie I'm gonna give it a 9. Oh boy, this is tough. 9.5 out of 10 or 9.75 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 9.75 out of 10. It's a near perfect movie. In my spoiler-filled discussion review, I will tell you why it's not a perfect film. It could very well be a perfect film, but there's some things, actually maybe only 2 or 3 things that I felt could have been improved, but these are really minor things. I'm gonna give it a 9.75 out of 10. It's a near perfect movie. I'm gonna watch this movie several more times. I really am going to do that, and I can't wait to watch it again. There you have it. There's my spoiler-free review. I know I really didn't say much except give you a 10-minute explanation or 12-minute explanation of how great this film really is. But let's go into details in the next video. I'm going to give you my spoiler-filled review in the next video. Stay tuned for that. We're going to get into all these little details about what I loved about this film and maybe 1 or 2 things I could improve. Anyways, that's all I got to say in the video. Thank you so much for watching. Go check out Avengers Endgame. And make sure you get your tickets early. Grab a really good seat. Don't pee. And enjoy that movie. As always, if you enjoyed this review and you want to see more, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name's Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.